Imagine a 9-year-old girl who loved to play the guitar. She begged her mom to get her guitar lessons, and after the 100th time of asking, the mom finally said yes. She began practicing day after day, and even came to the point where the parents had to force her to put the guitar down because it was time for dinner. The young girl's guitar teacher was so impressed with how well she was excelling in this instrument that he wanted her to be in his upcoming recital with the rest of his students. The girl was overwhelmed with happiness and began perfecting the songs she would be performing in front of her friends and family. The day had come where she would finally perform. She began to play the song, and 1 minute in, she completely forgot the chords, and the room was silent. She played the chorus because that was all she could remember at the time. This girl was so frightened. She had never performed in front of a crowd like this. After this event, she always began to have this awful feeling when she was asked to present in front of her classmates anytime she was called on by her teacher. The young girl was me 10 years ago. This event traumatized me throughout all of high school and even coming to Azusa. Today I'm going to be talking about how public communication has influenced my communication skills, along with some helpful tips that I've taken from this course. And lastly, I will end with how I plan on using the techniques from this course in my future. When I was first enrolled for this course, I had no prior experience with public speaking and had absolutely no interest in learning about the techniques because I felt it was inapplicable to my major. I had always thought that giving a speech was an on-the-spot sort of thing and needed very minimal direction. When I was asked to write my testimony, I was relieved because I knew this would be an easy speech to present because it required no background research. But man, was I completely wrong. It wasn't until this course that I began to realize the amount of time and specific order a speech needs. Even though the speech was personal, there were various amounts of techniques that had to be addressed. From this course, I took that speaking on my testimony, I have to keep in mind my audience and to find a way to relate this to my audience. Without my audience intrigued on my choice of topic, the speech is dead. My experience with Public Communication 111 goes beyond just my improving learning skills, but it even made me evaluate how I grew up processing information and how I had to adapt my old techniques into the specific course. I am the type of person that lives off a checklist. When I'm assigned a paper or a presentation, I want to know every little detail that has to be addressed in order to get the best grade. Coming into this class, there were rubrics, but every speech had to be creative, and there's never really a rubric for creativity. I'm not the type of person that usually thinks outside the box because I always had this worry that no one would appreciate my ideas. In almost every speech, people were coming out with these outstanding introduction stories, and I always imagined that mine was never good enough. Being included in the Fab Five removed the stress factor of being judged. I was able to open up about my own ideas and get the clarification from my teammates that my speech would be outstanding. Fear was no longer something I dwelt with as I began presenting more and more speeches. By the persuasive speech, I was able to walk up to the podium and give my speech knowing that my audience would be interested in me. Unlike many of my peers in this course who are communication majors, I'm a nursing major. The only reason I am enrolled in this course is because there is a required GE. My initial perspective of this course was that this would be a typical college course where I walked in, presented my speech, and then left the class. But my view was nothing compared to the reality of what actually happened in this class. It was hard to imagine this class helping me in my nursing career, but over time I realized that this communication skills I've learned in this classroom will help me when I am applying for a job and also when I actually begin to work in the hospital. When I am applying for a job, I have a clear understanding of how to professionally present myself in front of a board. Communication is vital in the hospital setting. According to effective communication advice, there are many reasons that healthcare professionals must have effective communication skills, such as speaking with other healthcare professionals and communicating bad news, explaining medications to patients. So today I spoke on a couple of ways that public communication has affected me from day one to the end of the semester, and how I plan on using these techniques after I graduate. The young girl in the beginning of this speech is nothing like the woman that is speaking to you today. Once the fear was addressed, I was able to express myself through my speeches. It's because of our struggles that completes our life story.